Hi, welcome to another exciting episode of Brand Reflection with BOT, the podcast where we'll break down the secret of marketing, branding, and business growth. Today, we're going into the topic which is the act of every successful marketing and branding sales strategy, consumer insights, and behavior. Whether you're a business owner, a marketer, or someone who just wants to know how businesses attract customers, and this will be the right episode for you. Today on this episode, we're going to explore why understanding your customers is non-negotiable, how to drive action, how to gather actionable insights, and what to do with those information to drive growth. So, grab a seat and let's get started. Welcome back. Now, let's get into it. Why is customers' insight very important? For you to sell to someone, you must understand what they want, their need, and feel. It's important for business owners to understand what their customers want, need, and feel for them to effectively sell to them. Consumer insights are like compass. They help or they are the bedrock, yes, they are the bedrock of every decision making, from product development to even your advertising campaign. That is what sets you apart from just doing a guesswork, because you have a product that is tailored to the needs and wants of your customers. For example, let's take FMCG, a sector of FMCG, which is I'm using Coca-Cola and Maggi. They didn't just become everybody's favorites. They invested heavily in understanding their customers, what Nigerian loves, the kind of flavor that we love, where we shop, and even culture helps them to understand the decision in our buying. The question here is, are you really listening to your customer, or you dey do guesswork? Now, let's talk about customers' behavior. Customers' behavior means why behind your customer's action. Why do they prefer other brands over another brand? Why do they recommend another product? Why do they recommend certain products to their family? Why do they abandon their cart during shopping online? These questions and many more will be answered. But then again, many factors influences customers' why, such as cultural value. Under cultural value, we have family, community, tradition. This plays huge role in purchasing decision. Economic reality is another factor. Price sensitivity is a big deal. So also is desire for quality and value. Digital adoption. The rise of social media and e-commerce platform. Customers are now more informed and more empowered than ever before. For instance, the rise of OPay and MoneyPoint. These brands and platforms didn't just succeed by offering payment solution. They succeeded because they understood the need for their Nigerian market for trust, affordability, reliability for banking solutions. This has helped them to tailor their customers' need according to their needs, wants, and feel. Now, the question is, how do you tap into the customer's behavior? One, what are the things that motivate your customers? What are their pain points? And how do they want to engage with your brand? When you can answer this question, I tell you your brand will fly. Now that we've talked about insights and how important it is, let's talk about how to gather these consumer insights. For example, you can do that through surveys and feedback. You can ask your customers directly using type forms or Google Forms to ask them questions directly. You can also use sales data to analyze what is selling to whom and how you sell them. You can also use Google data analytics. Data analytics, the use of Google Analytics can also help you to track your customers' behavior across your website and your e-commerce. Then you can also use focus groups. Gather some of your customers and ask them questions on how you are doing and what do they think you can do better and the rest of that. For example, if you're a fashion brand, if you notice that you make more sales on Instagram, that is an insight for you to optimize that platform for your sales, to drive your sales, and also to get acquainted with your customers. We've talked about why it is important to get insights. We've also said understanding your customers. I shared with you how you can gather insightful customer insights. Now, let's talk about turning those insights into action. This is where the real magic happens. Let's take an example. After you've gathered your consumer insights and you find out that your customers values fast delivery over low price, what do you do in that case? You partner with logistics business where you offer fast delivery over this discount. You communicate this fast delivery in your marketing messages. You build trust over time. Another example in that direction is if you notice or in your customer feedback that you got, you notice that your customer are very hesitant with online payments. What you do is you partner with secured payment platform such as Paystack, Flutterwaves, even Leatherbank. You communicate this experience with your customers to show them that their payments are secured. Build trust. You offer tracking solutions and improve on your customer relations in order to reinforce the experience. Another example, you gather that your customers are hesitant or skeptical about online payments. You partner with secure payment platforms like Paystack or Flutterwaves, and you educate your customers about their safety features. Remember, insights are only valuable when they lead to action. Now let's treat a case study. Here we are using GT Bank, now GTCO. GT Bank happens to be one of the most innovative banks in Nigeria, and the big part of their success comes from understanding their customers. From observation, they noticed that Nigerians were increasingly using mobile devices for banking, but were frustrated with clunky and slow apps. And what do? They introduced GT World app, an app that is user-friendly and sleek. And this app offers everything from transfer to bill payment. They didn't stop there. They also introduced a USSD code, which is the 737, for both the millennials and those who are not digitally inclined. The result, a loyal customer base and a reputation for innovation. Here is the summary for today's episode and your call to action. Start collecting data today. Analyze the data to understand customers' preference and uncover new patterns. Use this insight to make smarter, customer-centric decisions. And remember, this isn't one-time thing. Customers' behavior evolves, so should your understanding of them too. And that is it on today's episode with Brand Reflection with BOT. I hope you understand and you've learned one or two things from today's episode. Please don't forget to subscribe, share, and like. Until next time, bye bye.